Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at ChatGPT Atlas, which is a browser released by OpenAI yesterday. And essentially, this is a browser that is built from the ground up with AI capabilities built into it. So from search, from agent mode, where you kind of let go of the control and allow the browser to go and do its own thing. There's just so much that's been packed into this browser. Now, this is nothing new per se, because I think a few weeks ago, Perplexity released Comet, which is also an AI browser as well. And Google also added like an agent mode. I think this is a very significant moment in this whole AI era, because we are hitting that point where this is embedded in the very thing that sort of defines how we work. 90% of what we get to do on our systems these days happen in the browser. So now you have these AI systems that are embedded in the places that we do work, in the places where we want to be more productive. What I'm thinking is that there's going to be an explosion of productivity for most people who have been using AI systems like ChatGPT, Claude, or even Gemini or any other AI system out there. You typically have like one screen, or you have one window where you have your ChatGPT open, where you're asking questions and you're coming back to a browser. And now what you have is that it's embedded right into your browser. So I've been using it since yesterday, and I wanted us to sort of take a look at it together and how does this change the way we work. So we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that it does. Now, of course, I would say that I'm still hesitant to click this set as default browser button, even though OpenAI gives you, I think, 7 days of extended limits on messaging, file upload. So they're giving you an incentive to click this button. I'm not ready to click it yet, but I think it's just going to be a matter of time before we all are clicking this button, because I think what it opens up is just unprecedented productivity. I think use cases that come to mind immediately are when I'm on a documentation site. So let's go ahead and check how this thing works. Now, this works basically very similar to any other browser out there. It's very, very likely they've built it on top of Chrome as well. Chromium being the thing that is powering a lot of these browser tools. I'm not quite sure. I don't think they've released the specs yet specifically to say whether this is built on Chromium or if it's something else. But essentially looks very much like your Chrome, or like maybe a little bit more like Safari. Now you're able to import all of your browser information from Safari and Chrome. So when I was setting this up, I was able to do it. And by the way, this is available on Mac OS currently. So you can install this if you're using a Mac. I think they mentioned that Windows is going to be coming later on. So a few things to keep in mind while you're using this. Your default page is always going to be sort of this specific page right here. So this is a combination of both a search and kind of a ChatGPT questioning kind of thing. So I can say, let's say I wanted to go to the documentation for Replit documentation. So again, still behaves very much like a browser, but has this sort of chat interface right underneath, and also has like the ability to answer questions first. So basically going on answer first approach, and then you could always sort of go and see the actual search results. So you could go in different modes. The home mode is basically like a, question and answer kind of thing, like you're using ChatGPT, while the sort of search mode gives you like the actual search result. Now, very much like any browser, works as expected, but what you now have is this sort of companion on the side. And this companion essentially allows you to sort of understand what's going on. So essentially, I think this is where it's going to be really, really powerful, when you're doing work. So say I wanted to understand, the database sort of documentation from Replit as an example. Now the agent or this companion has context of this particular screen. So I can ask, something like summarize how database work. And now it's going to be able to just basically pick up the entire replit documentation as context, and is going to basically give you the ability to have this. And you can basically expand this if you want to see it a little bit more. My ChatGPT is in developer mode, but it also retains memory as you're browsing. Now, I'm going to see how this sort of plays out, because I think one of the things that OpenAI has done really well in terms of their consumer products, in terms of like things like ChatGPT specifically, is really how they deal with memory. Now, this is so important because as you're using a browser or you're using things like ChatGPT, memory becomes the biggest asset you have, because your patterns, the way you ask questions, the things about you, the things you care about become so important. So, having that context allows you to solve problems better, allows you to get the better answers that you want. So, when you're asking for something, it kind of has prior context of basically some of the behavior you've had in the past, and is using that to kind of make answers work. All right. So the big one is agent mode. And this is a mode that allows ChatGPT Atlas to basically take control and go perform tasks on your behalf. There are two modes for this, by the way. There's a sort of the login mode and there's the logged out mode. The logged in mode suggests that anything you're logged into in your browser, now ChatGPT Atlas has access to it, so it can go perform work on your behalf. So, for instance, you can go into your email or into your Google Drive and do stuff for you. So let's test it out and see exactly how it works. Now, I've been testing it out with different tasks since yesterday. So let's try this one. So MCP servers versus agent skills. This is a video I'm going to be working on because I am really fascinated to see how these two technologies work together. What are the differences and things of that nature. So stay tuned to that video. It's something I'm going to be doing in the future, just sort of seeing where each one fits into the whole spectrum of agent tooling. So I'm going to ask you to help me, start a research, and I want it to come up with a report, and I wanted to create a Word document, for me, and I wanted to share that document with me. So I'm going to give it this task to do. Now, the first thing you're going to realize with agent mode is a few things, right? So of course, it's going to do the research aspect of things. We're very familiar with this, with ChatGPT, with deep research, with, these types of tools, but now it's going to also be able to kind of open up a browser. So you can see the distinct sort of look for browser activity, where it's taking responsibility and using your computer. So this is computer use has come quite a long way since the days it first got announced a few years ago. And now we're seeing like the applications. And this is why it's really important to pay attention to all these different technologies as they're coming through and figuring out how to solve problems with them. And I'm always fascinated when folks are thinking through how to solve problems, and real problems. And I think this is going to be big. I think, if you're Google at this moment in time and you're sitting down and watching OpenAI release this, I think you're concerned. Yes, there's agent mode in Google, and Google technically can do this. But I think it's the fact that OpenAI is always raising the bar when it comes to user experience for these consumer tools. Like whether it is things like memory or the way ChatGPT works or the interface and the way they're thinking about it, those things matter, and those things mean a lot in terms of the way people adopt the solution. I think this is going to be an important step change in the way we do work and the way our productivity skyrockets. This thing is moving really fast, and now we're beginning to see like some huge implications in the way we're going to be doing things. Because again, I'm just hanging out, and this thing is going out and doing work that would have taken me several hours to complete. It's basically doing it, in a one-shot prompt, and it's able to kind of take action. Because everything about AI since 2022, 2021, 2023 was how does it actually solve real problems? And now we're getting to see these tooling that solve these type of problems. And these browser solutions, I'm going to see more of them, by the way. I think Apple is going to probably do something there. I think Google obviously is going to continue to refine their version. We've already seen Perplexity, Comet, and what they're doing there. I think everybody is going to be getting into this sort of browser game. We've not seen what it looks like for mobile, so we're going to be expecting that things like that are going to happen. So this is going to be huge. It's going to be really huge. Now, see, you can see it's doing all of that work. And by the way, while it's doing the work, you can basically take control as well. And it's proofreading the text. This is crazy. It's proofreading the text as it's going through, which is insane. So let's say I wanted to take control. You can click take control. You can also stop it from continuing. if you want to. And of course, let's see. So it's finished the other aspect of it, and it's saying, do you want me to proceed with sharing this document with this? So here it's asking for my permission. I think they've built it with that intention to be able to ask for permission and things like that. So if I'm feeling very comfortable with the write-up and the write-up looks good, so let's see actually the angle it came from. I just want to make sure it's actually real. So agent skills, agents, domain skill knowledge, composable task, progressive disclosure, primary purpose, provide standard protocol, package repeatable workflow. So yeah, pretty much like very, very much aligned, and yeah, it's pretty much great. And I can say, yes, sure, go ahead and share. And here it's just going to go ahead and share this. So it's going to, presumably it's going to go click the share button, up here, and it's going to, share this particular document with me. I think it goes without saying that this changes a lot. This changes a lot in the way we do work, and this is gonna be very transformational. I'm actually looking forward to like use cases that around things like while I'm working on a particular project and doing some stuff. Can it help me go configure a server or something like that, right? Like there's so many different applications of it that we're gonna start to see, which is insane. I really don't know what to say about this, but just to say that this is a moment in time in terms of like explosion of productivity. This is definitely going to accelerate the way we do things. Are there negatives to it? Of course, there's going to be some like things like data leakages, or someone using it to work on something sensitive and it messes up. Those kind of things can happen. But yeah, it's really gone ahead and done a lot of this work. They already pushed an update since yesterday, which is cool. But yeah, this is ChatGPT Atlas. Let me know what you think. Really curious to hear, your thoughts and how this is going to change the way you work. It's definitely going to change the way I work, because there's so many things I do in the browser, and now I have help in the browser. So I think it's just a matter of time before I set this as my default browser. I think that's probably going to happen very soon, because just seeing how the fidelity, the user experience, and how that just changes the way I think about work, I think this is going to definitely, be huge. All right. So until next time, keep building, keep exploring, keep checking things out, I don't know. I mean, we are in a very interesting place. I can't stress enough, like how huge this particular moment is and the way the future is going to be. I think OpenAI have followed up like some really big announcements in the past few weeks. And this one is pretty significant, because this one affects every single person. This is not just for developers. This is for everyone. And the way we do work and the way we approach work has fundamentally changed. All right. So until next time, do have a great one. Cheers.